Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to take a closer look at an interesting address from Pope Francis. This is back in 2014 to the Congregation for Catholic Education.
Right, and it wasn't just, a general talk. He was really digging into the challenges, but also the opportunities facing Catholic education specifically, especially in a world that was, well, changing pretty fast even then.
Absolutely. And, even though the focus is Catholic education, I think the ideas he brings up about dialogue, preparing educators, the role of these institutions, they feel much broader.
Oh, completely. They touch on themes relevant to anyone interested in education, how societies work, how we learn and grow together, really universal stuff.
So, our mission today, our deep dive, is to pull out those key insights. We're going to focus on, well, what seem like the three big areas he stressed.
Exactly. I see them as, one, the crucial role of dialogue, two, the need for really well-prepared educators, formators as he called them, and three, the function of Catholic schools and universities in today's world. We'll unpack what he meant and, importantly, why it still matters.
Okay, let's jump into that first one then. Dialogue in education. What was behind his emphasis on that? What was the context?
Well, he talked about the reality of increasing multiculturalism everywhere. And he made this really interesting link to the Galilee of the Gentiles.
Ah, the historical region.
Yes, exactly. A place known for its mix of cultures and beliefs, where Jesus actually started his public ministry. Pope Francis saw a kind of parallel there with our own diverse societies.
Hmm, that's a powerful image. So, given that diversity, how did he see Catholic institutions fitting in? Sounds like they have sort of a dual role.
That's a good way to put it. On one hand, their mission is about the integral development, the whole person for all students. And he was specific. Christians, non-Christians, believers, non-believers. It's a commitment to educating everyone.
Okay.
But at the same time, they also have this call to share the Christian message. The key, though, is doing it with real respect for each person's freedom and being sensitive to the specific context of each school.
So, maintaining their identity while also being genuinely open, that does sound like walking a fine line. How did he suggest they manage that?
That's where this phrase he used comes in. Bold and innovative fidelity. It really captures it.
Bold and innovative fidelity.
Yeah. It's not about watering down identity or closing off from the world. It's about finding, fresh, creative ways to live out that identity while genuinely engaging with all the different people, the souls, as he put it, in these diverse settings.
So it's proactive, not just reactive.
Precisely. It requires real effort and thought. And he actually gave a nod to the religious orders and institutions already doing this, setting up schools in these complex, diverse places.
Okay, so for you listening, the big takeaway here isn't just about Catholic schools specifically. It's this broader idea, right, that fostering real intercultural dialogue in any educational setting is just vital now.
Absolutely vital. It's about giving people the skills to navigate different perspectives, different cultures, essential for living in an interconnected world, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. Couldn't agree more. Okay, let's shift gears to the second pillar, the quality preparation of educators or formators. He seemed pretty emphatic about that.
Oh, very. He said, and this really struck me, we cannot improvise. We must take this seriously. It shows just how much weight he puts on it.
Yeah, cannot improvise. That's strong.
It is. And he recognized that, young people change. Each generation communicates differently, learns differently. So educators, and he included the church itself as a mother educator, they have to adapt. They need to figure out how to connect with young people today.
He also used some quite personal language, didn't he? Calling education an act of love, something linked to giving life.
Yes, and framing it that way really highlights the kind of dedication he sees as necessary. It's not just a job. It requires passion, patience, giving your best.
So what qualities did he point to for a good educator, especially within that Catholic school context?
Well, obviously competence, being qualified in their subject, but he stressed being rich in humanity, too, and having the capacity to guide not just intellectual growth, but human and spiritual growth as well.
And then there was the point about consistency and witness. That seems key everywhere, not just in religious schools.
Absolutely crucial. He basically said, young people need quality teaching, sure, but they also need to see values lived out, not just talked about. His words were consistency, consistency, and witness.
It underscores that actions speak louder than words, especially for young people watching.
They see everything, don't they? So that authenticity, that lived example is indispensable.
Which connects directly to his point about ongoing formation for educators, right? This isn't just about initial training.
Not at all. He stressed the need for continuous professional development, keeping skills sharp, staying current. But just as importantly, he talked about ongoing spiritual formation.
Like retreats and spiritual exercises.
Exactly. Things to nurture their own faith, their own spiritual drive. He saw that inner life as the foundation for the consistency and witness they need to show outwardly.
So for you, the listener, the insight here is really that great education isn't just about the curriculum or the building. It relies so heavily on the people doing the educating and their own continuous growth.
Precisely.
Huh.
Both professionally and personally. It's about nurturing educators who are skilled, yes, but also deeply human and committed to their own journey.
Okay, let's move to that third area then. The role of the institutions themselves, the schools, the universities. It sounds like some upcoming anniversaries were a catalyst for this part of his reflection.
That's right. He mentioned the 50th of Gravissimum Educationis and the 25th of Ex Corde Ecclesiae were approaching, plus Sapientia Christiana was being updated. These are major church documents on education.
Kind of foundational texts for their approach.
Exactly. So these anniversaries were a natural moment to think seriously about the mission and the purpose of these institutions in the modern world.
And what did he see as their fundamental duty, their core purpose today?
He put it quite powerfully. He said their duty is to be an expression of a living presence of the gospel in the field of education, of science, and of culture. But crucially, he stressed, they can't do this in isolation, meaning they need to actively engage with the wider world. He urged them to know how to enter bravely into the aeropagus of current culture and open dialogue.
The aeropagus of current culture, that's a striking phrase, like a public square of ideas.
Precisely. The marketplace of ideas, the main forum where cultural and intellectual debates happen.
Yeah.
He was saying Catholic institutions need to be in that conversation, not hiding from it.
So not just existing alongside culture, but actively participating, contributing.
Yes, bringing their unique perspective, their gift, as he called it, to the table for everyone. Not being afraid to engage with complex, maybe even difficult contemporary issues.
Okay, so the key takeaway there seems to be that these institutions, especially mission-driven ones, have a real responsibility to be active players in the wider societal conversation, not just academic bubbles.
Definitely not bubbles. They're meant to be dynamic hubs, contributing to the intellectual and ethical life of society. Those documents he mentioned, like Gravissimum Educationis on human development and Ex Corde Ecclesiae on university identity, they really lay the groundwork for that kind of active engagement he was calling for.
Right. So wrapping this up, we've explored these three core themes from Pope Francis's 2014 address: dialogue as essential in diverse societies, the critical need for well-prepared and continually developing educators, and the duty of educational institutions to engage bravely with the world.
And underlying it all is his view of education as this ongoing, vital building site. It's dynamic, always evolving, and a place where the church has historically played and he believes should continue to play a significant role.
And for you listening, hopefully this deep dive has given you a concentrated dose of some really fundamental ideas about education ideas, with relevance far beyond any single type of institution.
Maybe a final thought to chew on. How could these principles, this focus on genuine dialogue, the qualities needed in mentors or leaders, the call for institutions to engage outwardly, how might they apply in your world?
Yeah, maybe in your workplace, community groups, other organizations you're part of. How does learning and sharing knowledge happen there?
Could those principles make a difference? Something to consider?
Definitely food for thought. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today.